I have a degree in literature, and it's like, language is really important to me. And the sounds, and I did a lot of voiceover work, and I studied a lot of diction and voice with everybody. So the need for words and the need to really use language well doesn't seem to be very much in people's consciousness. You know, I speak, don't bother me, this is English. I speak English and that's it. But when we start to really investigate language and investigate how to use language to speaking, not singing, it's very detailed, it's very powerful. Vowels carry the music and the emotion. Consonants carry, write it down, consonants carry the meaning and the articulation. And it's like the male and female. So you have the vowels and you have consonants, sort of the structure of the consonants. And sometimes I find that certain people can't really connect, even through the body work that I do as well, with their physical structure and with their breathing and with their emotional life, which is a very big part of what I'm interested in, because I've worked with a lot of actors, going in and out of this, sorry. But sometimes when people have a very strong sense of language, which we all do, we all have a very high intuitive sense of language. Our intuitive sense of language is at its highest when we're 2 years old. That's really sad to me, right? 2 years old. So if you're learning 5 languages when you're 2, you're in great shape, right? But after 10, 12, it's harder, right? But sometimes people come in, they've got a very good, an ease with Shakespeare, they have an ease with poetry, they love poetry, they want to work on it. And it's a way into breathing for them. It's a way into feeling, moving through their emotional life. It's a way into structuring, working with their voice. And it's very, very strong. So my next idea about this is, the language we use, we've all heard about this. Be careful what you say, be careful what you think, because this creates reality, right? Our thoughts go out to the ends of the world. They might change as they get through different galaxies, but they are out there forever. And I encourage my students to read a poem out loud every week for the rest of their lives, because this creates eloquence. So it's not enough that you've got this beautiful sound. How do I use it? But what are the words that are coming out of my mouth?
I know, I was also going for the individual evolution of our own personal conscience. How does language and sound and using our equipment, because it's equipment that no one really teaches us to use, how can that help us with our own personal evolution? I mean, we've been talking a little bit about it, but do you want to add to that?
Well, I think that by becoming more conscious of the language you do use, by becoming more conscious of what creates language in you and how your system really responds to vowels and consonants. Every single vowel has a different vibration. She could tell you the knots of that, but I can't. But every single sound has a different vibration. We all have like a private alphabet in us. And the more conscious we become of that, when I mean private alphabet, our vowels and consonants, we have 46 sounds in diction. 26 letters of 46 sounds. To really become connected to these sounds helps us to enjoy language more, helps us to become more eloquent, helps us to become more conscious about what we're saying and the language we're using. I think poetry is a huge builder, because the poets are talking about the intuition between words. And I think even when we don't understand a poet, we get it. And I have memorized poems. I have memorized some of Yeats's poems because I could not understand it. And when I finally memorized it and we had to say it out loud over and over and over and over again, then it went in. And I think that if you start to think about language in this sense, it's not just your everyday, you know, hey, what are you doing? Hi, Lauren. Why are you taking pictures of me? We can stop that. You know, and this is how most people think about language, but we start to think about language in a very elevated sense, that we have a capacity, as when you are working with Shakespeare, I will always say to people, the first thing you are, before you are Hamlet, is that you are a poet. So how can I use that? How can I bring that to myself?
I think Jeannie had a